House doctor. He's Congressman Ronny Jackson, along with former FDA official Rick Mehta. It's great to have you back on. Okay, Congressman, first to you. We need tests to stop worker shortages and come out of quarantine and avoid shutdowns, right? I mean, Dr. Anthony Fauci, Congressman, is saying you should be tested after 5 days of quarantine. But so where did all the money go? We've got $73 billion allocated, $63 billion spent. What's going on with testing?
Yeah, like you said, Liz, that's a great question. They've spent all but $10 billion of that. I'd like to know exactly what the Biden administration did with that money. They've approached this exactly like they've approached everything else in this administration, the same reckless way that they approached Afghanistan and the border and the economy and everything else that they've mangled since President Biden's taken over as our president. But you're right. Where are the tests? We need to know what's going on. And more importantly, Liz, they're saying they're going to push tests out. Where is the testing plan? There's no plan. They're just throwing this out here. They're panicking people. People are going out trying to hoard these at-home tests. We need a testing plan, and we need to be testing key populations, not just anybody. If you're healthy and you don't have any symptoms, you don't need to be tested. And guess what? If you're otherwise healthy and you have symptoms, you probably don't need to be tested either, because we know that the tests have a high false negative rate. And so if you have a runny nose, a cough, a sore throat, sneezing, cold and flu symptoms, you should assume that you have Omicron in this particular environment. You should stay home. And if you don't, you should go to work and you should live your life. So I think that the Biden administration is working hard to shut this economy down again because of their incompetence.
To the congressman's point, the Supreme Court Friday potentially looks like it's going to hear the cases against the Biden vaccine mandate, Rick Mehta, for large companies and healthcare workers to be vaccinated. So we have basically lockdown by default, right? I mean, we've got vaccine mandates causing shortages of tens of thousands of workers, health workers, nurses, cops from coast to coast nationwide.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, right now, the Biden administration has continued to cripple the economy. Remember, President Biden ran on a plan to not shut down schools, not shut down the economy, but to shut down the virus. And the only thing that's shut down is himself. I mean, he admitted that there's not going to be a federal solution to this pandemic. And I think that's just a foreshadowing of an admission that he's going to continue to lose in the Supreme Court. Remember, the Biden administration has already lost in the Supreme Court when they shut down the CDC's moratorium evictions. And so I think there's a real question on federalism, separation of powers. And the truth is Congress regulates these areas of legislative authority, not executive orders, and especially not ones done without notice and comment rulemaking.
Yeah, you break it, you own it, right? To Rick Mehta's point, right, Congressman? Here's the thing. Any way you look at it, we've got to live with COVID. So instead of just talking about vaccines, shouldn't we be having serious discussion about other treatments that we funded? When we launched Operation Warp Speed, billions of dollars were going to other companies with drug treatments. What happened to that? Let's take a look at the drug treatments. So what's going on with that, Congressman?
Absolutely. There's a ton of money that was spent on that kind of stuff. There's no accountability. All that money's just gone now with no results. And we do need to know what happened to that money. We'll find out. If we don't find out now, we'll find out in the next Congress when the Republicans take over, because there's going to be a full audit of what's going on in the Biden administration and how this was so poorly managed. I think they've had plenty of opportunity. Like we're talking about, the Supreme Court's going to look at this. And the big question is going to be, does the president have the authority? Can he or should Congress have exercised or given him that authority, which we should have, but we didn't. Now, they've had plenty of opportunity to do that. They have the House, they have the Senate, and they have the White House. But they've been so focused on stuff that has nothing to do with this down the road. They've just tried to scare everybody into submission, while simultaneously they're trying to push through these huge spending bills, tax and spend, and they're pushing their woke agenda on everybody. They should have been focusing on things that really matter to people. They should have been planning ahead, and they should have seen this coming, but they haven't seen any of this coming. And now we're going to pay a huge price because they have been so out of touch with everything that's happening in this country.
And given what the congressman is saying, Rick Mehta, states are pushing back now. Even Democrat-run Rhode Island has now opened an option for COVID-positive health workers to continue working if their facility is facing a staffing crisis. I want you to look at Governor Kristi Noem saying to the White House, back off, let states handle the pandemic. Watch this.
The federal government doesn't have the authority to take these types of actions by requiring people to get vaccinated for their job or to receive federal funding, or if they want to have a contract with the federal government or even participate in Head Start contracts. So we are suing him in court, and those will be heard within a week in the Supreme Court. It's interesting to me for him to say that the federal government isn't the answer, that the answer has to come from the states, when that's exactly what us as governors have been asking to let us do. Let us have the flexibility. Let us use personal responsibility, trust our people to make the right decisions. South Dakota has done that all along, and we've proven that it works. And I'm hopeful that President Biden will back off and start focusing on what his job actually is.
Rick Mehta, you were at the FDA, given what the governor just said. When you were at the FDA, what did you see when it came down to either side of the political aisle and how they wanted to handle the pandemic?
Well, the remit is that the 10th Amendment gives the states the authority to regulate public health, and that's exactly where the power should be vested right now. We see some states doing it right and others continuing to cripple. In my own home state of New Jersey, we've lost 1/3 of our businesses because of a far-reaching governor who thinks that the Bill of Rights is above his pay grade. So we need to continue to retain the public health authorities, the ones where the states themselves, the governors and their public health departments know the burden on the healthcare system. They know how many patients there are. They can track and monitor and know what the right approach is. But you continue to see a failed response by the federal government. I mean, Dr. Fauci continues to flip-flop. I mean, he has the entire American public in these Chinese finger cuffs. You know, you can't go to work if you're symptomatic, and then you have to get tested in order to get out of quarantine. And then now there's no tests that even made available. So what is the American public, the small businesses, what is the economy, and how are they supposed to react to that? The truth is, we have treatment options that are now available through emergency use authorization. A plan needs to be put in place to make them available that can keep people out of the hospital and keep people from developing serious infection, whether they're vaccinated or unvaccinated.
Yeah, I mean, final point is that Congressman Dr. Fauci says we need to test if you're coming out of after 5 days out of quarantine, but the tests aren't there. You know what I mean? They're putting a lot on top of the American people with confusing statements, according to what Rick Mehta just said. And, you know, people out there saying,
Liz,
what are you doing? Right? Your final word.
I'll tell you also, look at what's going on right now with the masking. They've been telling us for forever now, the mandatory masking rules. Now we find out that the cloth masks don't make any difference. I'm pretty sure we knew that over a year ago. Most people have been saying that. I've been saying that for over a year, that these cloth masks make absolutely no difference. And now they're admitting this after they've had us locked down wearing these masks everywhere we go for 2 years now.
Dr. Fauci said that, what you just said, even before the pandemic. Okay, Dr. Ronny Jackson and Rick Mehta, it's great to have you back on. Come back again soon. You guys are terrific.